Hey, my name is Deborah. I'm coming to you from Canberra, Australia, and this is a channel I started to help me with my unfinished projects problem. I'm back with another one of my unfinished projects. I've actually had a bit of a break last week. I realised I've been working pretty much 7 days a week since January of last year, trying to get a couple of projects up and going. One of them was this YouTube channel, and I just hit a wall. I was exhausted. And so I had an actual 3-day weekend last weekend. It was very exciting. I didn't know what to do with myself, but it was nice to have a break. So, what I'm going to do is actually say I probably won't do a video for next week. I have quite a few aspects of my life I have to catch up on. And so, I'm going to put up a video that I started quite early on. And so, there are some problems in it with the filming that because I did it all before I started getting feedback about some of the problems with the filming, which I've tried to fix, and this just has a couple of them still there. So I haven't finished this project. This is one of the things that I want to get on with and finish by New Year. I've fallen back into some bad habits where I start things and I get bored and I put them aside and I don't get back to them. I've had some really shiny things that I've wanted to do this year, and I focus more on them than on some of the things that I started to work on early on. So, what I will be doing is over the next few weeks, I'll be going back, trying to finish a couple of things, trying to get of those pink marks that say I'm actively working on something turned into orange crosses that say I finished them. And so, this will be one of the projects that I want to try and finish. And it has been a mess ever since I started it. I really haven't brought my A game to this project, and I just want to get it finished, but I will go back and I'm going to try and fix some of the mess that I actually made of it. So this is my early stages where I really wasn't back into doing any sewing other than quilting mode, and you can just see the struggle at the beginning, and I will come back later and show you how I'm going to achieve perfection um, in my own mind. Anyway, we'll see how it turns out.
I've decided I want to work on the caterpillar bag. It basically because it's been sitting on the desk and it's been getting in the way of everything else I've been doing, but also because it's cute and I want to finish it.
I'm going to do some work on the caterpillar. I've cut out what they're calling the lining. I think it's a facing. And we've got, it's for the bag opening, so it will just make just inside the bag look nice and neat. Okay, cut out 2 interfacing pieces using both lining pieces for patterns. So they said to cut along this black line. I think I might interface the whole thing and then cut. Okay, I'm going to have another look at the instructions. I want to see if I cut out a cloth lining with this using the actual shapes of the caterpillar, the body of the caterpillar. Can I just sew it to this and it will all work? It will all fit. Let me just have a look at the instructions. I'm back to the caterpillar. I'm going to have another bit of a play with it. I had no luck with the circular bit that is supposed to be the antenna. Let's have a look.
the little antenna on there is a fabric stalk, and then it was a round fabric thing that you stitched together and then had to turn inside out and stuff with some stuffing. I had no success with that. This is a very coarse fabric. It frayed like crazy. It's quite heavy. I couldn't pull it through. So I gave up on that. I got buttons, but they're actually beads, I realized when I tried to get a needle through to sew them on. They are beads. The first bead I picked out, the needle wouldn't go through. I've now found a couple that the needle's going to go through. I gave up on, when I was looking for the beads, I lost one of these. This is supposed to be the antenna stalk. And so I pulled out a fabric that's very similar to what's on the caterpillar feet. The caterpillar feet are a fair way away. Nobody's going to notice that it's a slightly different colour. And I've made the stalks. I'm now going to try and sew the beads onto the stalks in a way that doesn't look too obvious that this is jerry-rigged. And I'll come back to you when I figure that out. I had several beads, several green beads, only one of which I could get the eye of the needle through. So he has one green, one blue eye. I'll call him David Bowie, except David Bowie had one blue and one green, one blue and one brown, I think. Anyway, so different coloured eyes, innovating all the way. I've just realised that last time I was working on the caterpillar, I was using a technique I like to call more haste, less intelligence. Something I like to do now and then to keep my problem-solving skills toned. The little tops of the antenna, I only cut out 2 pieces. I was supposed to cut out 4, so I was trying to make them half the size that they are meant to be. So I have retrieved the 2 that I mangled from the bin and made little circular ones properly, so I can take those beads off that were always going to be a bit of a dodgy fix, and I will put these in. I'll put a little bit of stuffing in them, and the antenna actually is pushed right up into the center, and hopefully that will look somewhat better and will make it more child-friendly. We'll proceed slowly and reading the instructions very carefully with the rest of the caterpillar. Cloth antenna. Hand stitching, clearly not one of my best skills. And I've managed to make them different lengths. I don't care right now. I just want to get this bag finished. I will use it myself rather than inflict it on someone whose quality control might be better. I've just cut out the sides. I'm going to cut out a lining for that as well. So I'll just use that as my template. Oh gosh, I'm only just going to get that out of that. I only need 1 layer, I don't need 2. There we go. That's better. Okay, I've used this as the template to cut out the lining. That's the lining. And now I'm going to use my rotary cutter just to go straight across the middle there along that black line. And that has cut everything to size very nicely. Right, what do we do with this guy? These guys. rotary cutter blade. All right. What's next? Okay, so they need to be gathered across all of these lines and on the end. To measure 8 inches. What are they now? 9 and a bit. So it doesn't need to gather them much. I'm very seriously about just stitching a strip of elastic 8 inches long across there. Not that gathering's actually hard. Okay, so I found some elastic of a suitable width after quite a search. Wasn't in my home haberdashery store, unfortunately. I've just cut it out to 8 inches. I've pinned the middle where it needs to go through, and I'm going to just stretch the elastic out to the length where it needs to be and just stitch it up. That seems to me easier than doing gathering stitches. There's no reason why I didn't do the gathering stitches except laziness. Just so you know, that was pretty disastrous. I had to remove the bits again, and all those little bits of elastic have been cut up. There's nothing I can do about that. They can maybe go into the sleeves or something, or the bottom of something. Anyway, I'll find a use for it. I have kept it. You never throw anything out. You never know when you'll need it. Okay, so yes, I just went on and decided to follow the instructions. All right, I've done as the pattern told me. I've done 2 rows of gathering stitching, taken it down to 8 inches, and then put a stabilizing row of stitching in. So now I can get on with the next bit. I think it's actually more gathering. Oh, they want me to gather the whole length of it. Bring each stripe down to 3 5/8. Oh, that's such a tiny weeny bit. Okay, I'm done rebelling. It's taken me too much time making up for it. I'm going to do what they tell me to do this time. Hi, I've come up to the sewing room. I have about an hour to kill before I need to take my car out for some attention. And so I've come up. There's a really fiddly bit to do on the caterpillar bag, which you may remember if you have a really good memory. It's a while since I worked on it. So I've got the sides and I've got gathering stitches on the top. Each of these stripes needs to be 3 5/8 inches. It's about 4 1/4 now. So it's just a little bit of gathering to do on that. I've got just one lot of gathering stitches. So I'll start gathering in the middle, get that to size, and then work my way out. So once that's done, everything will be the size it is going to be in the final bag, and I'll be able to cut out the linings to the same size as the finished size. So that will be taking me quite close to a finish. I am going to put a zip in. The pattern calls for Velcro. I want a zip. So as you would know if you've been following along, every time I go off the pattern, something goes wrong. So I'll think that one through, and I will come prepared to unpick and do it again if it doesn't quite work out. But in my head, I can't see any reason why it won't. It's just sometimes when my hands get involved, they don't speak to each other. Anyway, I'm going to work on that for a while and hopefully get to the point where I can start cutting out linings next time I come to do caterpillar bag. I'm just gently tying off the ends of the gathering threads. I'm doing them on both sides so that it will stay in place until I can get the I'll put a stitch. I'll sew a line through the middle of the two gathering stitches, and that will keep everything as it should be. So it turned out that the two end stripes are 3 5/8, the others are 3 1/2. Okay, so that's as far as I've managed to get on the caterpillar bag. It's been a long time since I've worked on that, and I will be getting back to it. Most of the fiddly bits are done. I don't know why I didn't go back, but anyway, I probably got sidetracked by something really, really shiny. Quite a few things that I'm in theory actively working on. So things on the list that have a pink dot, I would like to try and finish by the end of the year. So on that one, I have the Japanese quilt blocks that I had on the board, the caterpillar bag, and what I'm calling my Positano quilt. It was inspired by my visit to Italy last year. I didn't actually go to Positano, so I just like the name. I'm not sure that they have the coloured houses in Positano either, but anyway, we'll see what happens. I've had it up on the board in what I originally thought I was going to do, and I woke up a little while ago and I had a completely different idea about what I want to do. So who knows what's going to happen there. So we also have the African quilt, which I am hand quilting. So that just needs to finish the quilting and the binding. The steampunk quilt, which needs to be quilted and bound. The HST patchwork dog. Oh, I haven't finished that. Yes, that's over there too. The terry blocks quilt. I've made a heap of terry blocks. I did have a bit of a play with them up on the design board and didn't like what I came up with, but I've had another idea for those too. So I have enough to make a big quilt already made, and so I will try and get that together as a quilt top at least. That can be quilted by machine, so that will be a much faster prospect for finishing. What else have we got? Wool alpaca scarf, so that's probably 2/3 finished, but it is a lace, and I'm having a bit of trouble with the lace. I can't just sit down and knit for very long because I just lose focus and then the lace pattern gets messed up. The oven gloves, which I mentioned. Oh, nothing that I'm working on there on the last one. But what have we got here? Steampunk outfit. I didn't finish it. The girlfriend that I was going to go with has been having a really rough time lately, and she really wasn't up to it. Neither of us finished our outfits, and so we decided we would go to one in the Blue Mountains in April next year, I think it is, or we'll go to next year's one in the nearby town. But yeah, so that hasn't been finished either, and I will try and finish that. It's really quite challenging, and I'm enjoying it. So I do want to finish it, and I want to do the embellishments and things. That's actually quite interesting and quite fun. Anyway, I will leave you now, and probably there won't be a video next week, but then I will come back the week after.